So here we see the bottom side of the Badenia VA17 Super. It's made in St. Georgen, Schwarzwald, Blackwood Forest in Germany. Here you can see the motor cap, which is completely corroded and destroyed by the mice which lived in the machine when it was sitting. So I had to put a new one in, which is white and out of plastic. Okay, we have screws on the bottom side which are under these rubber feet. So, okay, perhaps you have to take some needle nose pliers to do this. And here you can loosen the chassis from the bottom shell by these tiny nuts. But we'll come to that later. Okay, here we have the handle, which is quite practical. You can really carry it with one hand. And we have two wheels for the machine to be moved on the table. Okay, but let's turn it around, and what you see here is one screw at the back. Which can be removed, and then that's not the right one, and then we can remove the back cover, because this is the first step which is needed to remove the carriage. And when the carriage is removed, we can after that also remove the upper shell of the machine. So we can have a look inside. Here you can see the new motor cap, the motor itself. So I will turn the machine a little bit more so that we can perhaps have a better view to the internals. Here is a lever. When you press it down, then you can move this stick out, which has a thread in it, so you can put something in. I don't know if that fits. Yeah, that's the screw from the back. And if you push this internal lever, you can move the rod out of the machine. This is the whole rod. And you can put it back. Let's see if that works. No, it's not so easy. We have to align it again. Yeah, now you can see here that goes through and there, and this is the end, and then it clicks in. This thing you have to remove. This is this mechanism, which is the passive retraction of the carriage from the right to the left, which is passively done by spring-loaded force. So here we have a Okay. Yes. If you release the force, and you can see this is a strap of fabric which pulls the carriage back. Now it's relieved. Okay, so that's it at this side, and then we should be able to remove the carriage. If the carriage has stuck in this position, it's almost impossible to get it off, and then you have to remove these screws and some other parts to get it off. So here you can see the back of the carriage, and this is the lever, and here you can see how it clamps the rod, and the second is the clamp for the bar here. So here's a clamp and here's a clamp with screws inside. I don't know if you can see it. Here and here. And we remove these clamps, and then we can take the shell off. So here you can see the two clamps I'm removed off camera. And then let me see. Yes. And then we should be able to move the back, but that's not enough because there is another screw. Where is it? Here. There is another screw below the handle, and this fixes the front of the upper shell. So let's put it aside, and now we should be able to take that thing off. Okay, no. We have to unscrew these. Don't lose it, and this one comes off. These knobs, put them aside, and now you can remove the upper shell. So let's put it aside, and here we can see the internals of the machine. And here you can see some severe rust. This is from the mice's urine, the dead mice, the dead body of the mice I found here. And of course there was this was laid out with foam for noise cancelling, but this is of course all gone, and I had to remove that all because that was severely stinking. Okay, so far. Now let's see how we can go further. So now let's have a closer look to the mechanics and the problems I had with this machine, which I had to repair. This latch and this lever, these are is the mechanism for the tabulator tabs, and this one, I don't know if I can show that, this was broken at the back, and it was the problem that I had to weld it together. And since I only have a stick welder, that was not perfect, of course, because I could not do that at such a precise level. And for that I had to glue a piece of brass which I shaped in the way that it makes the right contact to these notches. Here you can see this is from the 8, 6, 4 and 2. If I press the 2, this comes out. If I press the 4, this comes out. If I press the 6, this comes out, and the 8, or even none, but this makes no difference. 8 and none is no difference. So and by the way, here you can see the tense carry mechanism for the full tense carry of the machine, and later we will take off the cover of this carriage, and we will have a look at the front. To take off the cover, you have to undo, I presume, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and you have to disengage these green levers. That is the split mechanism for the clearing. So you can see if I have this one down, the whole clearing bar moves, yeah. And if I put that up, you can see here the lever goes up, and if I pull it, you can see here it is split. If I put it up, it hooks in, and now we have again the complete mechanism. Okay, and this has to be removed, so we can put the knobs away, and then we can take the shell off. Okay, so the problem was that this lever was gone, and here you can also see that I had to fix the height of this part, that it latches in correctly, and if the notches move, you can see, whoops, then it delatches it. It presses the lever down, latches in, and if it moves, it delatches it. So this is the principle. It's not easy to understand. It took a little while for me to understand it, but otherwise the machine is, to my opinion, very good constructed, and it was not much seized. There is not much oil and grease in it, and of course I put a little bit to make it move again, but all in all, and for the reason of, for the fact that there was so much damage to the mouse urine in this machine, it's wonderful that it completely works again. Okay, so I will remove the bottom. As I told you, I remove the rubber feet, and then I put the nuts out, and then we will take this thing out of its shelf. So as you can see, I removed the small nut, and this is the pin, which will come out later, and okay, and this big thread is for leveling the rubber damper, so that the chassis of the machine can be leveled out in the bottom shell. That's quite well made. So after removing the 4 bottom nuts, we can lift the machine out of the case, as I hope. Yes. I'll put it aside, and we will have... So, here is the machine lifted out. We have the bottom shell, which regularly was covered with form material, which is gone. These are the side bumpers, and here we have some rubber to damp it from the shell. Okay, this is the bottom part, and here you see the mechanism of the springs, which is quite well made, and even that spring corroded and destroyed, and I put it together again. Not perfect, but now it's working. Here on this side it is still in as it should be. So that's how it works. This is the side panel of the machine. Here's the gearing, this is the motor, this is for the mains plug, and move it around. Now here you can see the motor, the capacitors for removing the interference from the motor, and this is the new motor capacitor, as I pointed out earlier. And here you can see the corrosion, but this is only at the bottom part, and so the machine luckily was not damaged from this mouse corrosion. Here you can see the step drums, which is lifted at this angle. So this is not in the same angle as the keyboard, which is perhaps a little bit interesting on these machines from Badenia. I don't know if this was the same at the early machines. And here again we can see the mechanism for the retraction of the carriage. And here you can see, if you pull this completely out, it takes this latch up, and it will brake it a little bit until it keeps to the end, and then the brake goes off, and you can, this makes this weird sound which you can hear when you use this machine. Okay, good. Okay, the motor has no classic governor mechanism, which I do like. I'm not a big fan of these sparking governors, but that was the time, and probably we can have another look. Don't know, it's sharp, but here you can see the lever and the welding spot and my repair attempts, but it partly works, and you can use the tabulator of the machine again. So okay, this is the bottom side of the machine. Here you can see this bar with the pivot points, which has two of the pins which are screwed in the bottom shell, and here they are. These are fixed, so it has a 3-point fixation of the shell, and so you can level it out without put tension on the frame of the machine. Here you can see the mechanism of the keyboard. If I press numbers, you can see how these levers now move. And if I take the yellow button for the keyboard memory, if I push some numbers in, I don't know if you can see that here, push some numbers in, and then I put the lever back. No, this was front. They do not seem to move very good. So, but they are made to do that horizontally. Perhaps I take some numbers here. And these ratchet mechanisms are for storing the entered numbers on the keyboard. So if I pull this lever back, you can see that this latches in, and that stores the number mechanically, even if I push the button, and this moves back. And if I now put only the lever here in front, which recalls the stored number, you can see here it moves in the right position, which corresponds to the number I pushed in. And it also shows it on the display. And here we have a loose, don't know what that does, but probably this explains a little bit of some problems of the machine. We will find out. Okay, this is quite special. This storage register of. So let's try it again. The keyboard is cleared now. Okay, the lever of the recall mechanism is in the middle position, and this should move. This is the cleared position, and then you can push here some numbers in, 3 numbers, and now I push the lever back, and now the number is stored in here by this ratchet mechanism. And if I clear the number, you can see that if I push the lever in front, you can see that they are moved instead of the others where I didn't store the numbers and pushes in the stored position. That's a quite interesting mechanism. I must admit that I do not fully understand how it works, but it works and it looks good. So it's not for vertical position. So another thing is here is, I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit overexposed probably. Here you can see the filtering of the machine, and it is a coil and a resistor and some capacitors in one package. And here is the, I don't know if you see that. No, I don't think so. The motor is, now you can see it probably. The motor is 2200 volts, 220 volts, and the motor capacitor is 2.5 microfarads. And of course the serial number. Okay, that's a quite compact thing. You can again have a look in the guts of the machine. These are the function keys from the bottom side. This is moving the carriage. Okay. So now let's have a look at the carriage. For the upper lever there is no screw for the counting. There is no screw, but here is a it's a little clip, and if you remove this, don't lose it, then you can pull out here this knob in front. And for the other one, there is the same, and this screw, that was not right what I told before, but you have to see how that is aligned, to remember how that is aligned and how it moves. And if I move the white lever in front, you can see that this has an eccentric thing, which moves this lever here. So if I pull that out and I remove the clip, then I should be able to pull that out, and here you can see the eccentric thing which pushes the lever. So it looks like this. So, and now the 5 screws have to be removed, and that's it. And you can take off the front plate. The middle one. And here, yeah, the 2. Here it's a little bit narrow, and these bumpers were disintegrated, so I renewed it. That's important, because this has to be in the right position. If the bumper is not there, that goes too far in this direction, and then that will stuck the gears from moving because the bar is too far, and this is not in the right position. So, okay, I do the rest off camera. So now the screws are out, and we can see the front plate of the thing. This is the inside. What might be interesting, this is a nylon string, where these indicators are fixed on, and so it's removable, but this is really a nylon string. It's a quite unique construction. Didn't see that on any other machine. Okay. Here you can see the clearing mechanisms, and these are no wheels like the others, but they are discs which move, and you can see the numbers. And again, this is the tense carrying mechanism, and here you can see the buttons for the division tabulator. And this one, there's a small hole at the front. This is this one, this hole, and with a little bit of screwdriver you can put something in if it's stuck, and you can release all the pins. So that's the front, and I think now we can put it on the machine, the carriage back on the machine, and let's see if it works without its covers. So let's try it again. I think the clue is to put it here over it, and if you put it in like this, you see that it suddenly fits, because these parts at the end, they do interfere with something which is at the bottom, and if they are moved out, you can put it in, and you see that it nearly now fits to the clamp. And let's see. No, I think that was too. So I managed to get it in, and if you try to move it to the right, it blocks, and then you have to, which was it, to push that to the side, and of course if the camera runs, it doesn't move that, and again to the right. And so on. And suddenly it fits. So now it's back to the right, and we can push in the rod. So I must admit, I did not understood the trick at the moment. So that clicks in here, and there it is. Okay. So let's reposition the machine, and then let's have a look what it does. Okay. Now it blocks. Oops. Okay. The problem is that the machine is motor driven in this direction, but in this direction you need to engage the spring-loaded mechanism, which I forgot. So let's move it back and put it on again. So the length of this thing seems to be quite crucial. So my strap was damaged, and I had to shorten it a little bit. Otherwise, it's made through these two gaps, and I had to shorten it, and I saw it. And I was lucky that I managed to get the right, about the right length. So, okay, now it's engaged. And let's turn it back and see. Oh, no power. Okay, this is the power. Okay. And at the end there is a switch, and which senses that the carriage is back on the leftmost side. And yeah, this is the stop button, and this is the clearing button. But the clearing seems not to be engaged at the moment. Sometimes you have first to push. You have first to push the multiplication button, and then it engages this thing. Why this doesn't move, I don't know at the moment. Strange. Perhaps because the mechanism is not engaged. Okay.